Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya, Shri Srimad Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Gauranga. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, The Science of God. Chapter 1, The Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. Text 8. If everybody could please repeat after me. Jaya Kale Tu Sattvasya Devarshin Rajaso Suran Tamaso Yaksha Rakshangshi Tat Kalanuguno Bhajat Jayakale tu Sattvasya Devarshin Rajaso Suran Tamaso Yaksha Rakshamsi Tat Kalanugu No Bhajat Jayakale tu Sattvasya Devarshin Rajaso Suran Tamaso Yaksha Rakshamsi Tat Kalanuguno Bhajat Jayakale tu Sattvasya Devarshin Rajaso Suran Tamaso Yaksha Rakshamsi Tat Kalanuguno Bhajat
Jayakaletu Satvasya Devarshin Rajaso Suran Tamaso Yaksha Rakshansi
Jayakale, in the time of prominence. 2, indeed, Sattvasya, of goodness. Deva, the demigods. Vishin, and the sages. Rajasaha, of passion. Usuran, the demons. Tamasaha, of ignorance. Yaksha Rakshamsi, the yakshas and rakshasas. Tatkala anugunaha, according to the particular time. Abhajat, fostered. Translation, commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish with the help of that quality, with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish, and when ignorance is prominent, the yakshas and rakshasas flourish. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart, fostering the reactions of sattva-guṇa, rajo-guṇa, and tamo-guṇa. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to anyone. The conditioned soul is under the influence of the various modes of material nature, and behind material nature is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But one's victory and loss under the influence of sattva-guṇa, rajo-guṇa, and tamo-guṇa are reactions of these modes, not of the Supreme Lord's partiality. Srila Jiva Goswami in the Bhagavat Sandarbha has clearly said, Sattva-dayo na santishe yatracha prakrita gunaha sa shuddha sarva shurebhya pumam adya prasidatu. Ladani sandani sambit tvayi eka sarva sangstitao lada tapa karit mishra tvayi no guna varjite. According to this statement of the Bhagavat Sandarbha, the Supreme Lord, being always transcendental to the material qualities, is never affected by the influence of these qualities. This same characteristic is also present in the living being, but because he is conditioned by material nature, even the pleasure potency of the Lord is manifested in the conditioned soul as troublesome. In the material world, the pleasure enjoyed by the conditioned soul is followed by many painful conditions. For instance, we have seen that in the 2 great wars which were conducted by the rajo-guṇa and tamo-guṇa, both parties were actually ruined. The German people declared war against the English to ruin them, but the result was that both parties were ruined. Although the Allies were apparently victorious, at least on paper, actually neither of them were victorious. Therefore, it should be concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to anyone. Everyone works under the influence of various modes of material nature, and when the various modes are prominent, the demigods or demons appear victorious under the influence of these modes. Everyone enjoys the fruits of his qualitative activities. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:11-13. Sarva dvareshu dehismin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyad vivridam sattvam ityuta lobha pravittir aramba karmanam ashama spriha rajasyetani jayante vivridhe paratarshaba prakasha pravittischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivridhe kurunandana. The manifestations of the modes of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illumined by knowledge. O chief of the Bharts, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart, simply gives the results of the increase in the various qualities, but he is impartial. He supervises victory and loss, but he does not take part in them. The various modes of material nature do not work all at once. Their interactions of these modes are exactly like seasonal changes. Sometimes there is an increment of rajo-guṇa, sometimes of tamo-guṇa, and sometimes sattva-guṇa. Generally, the demigods are surcharged with sattva-guṇa, and therefore when the demons and demigods fight, the demigods are victorious because of the prominence of their sattva-guṇa qualities. However, this is not the partiality of the Supreme Lord. Om Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanavitamena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Makam Kartavachalam Bhangam Langai Teganim Yakipadamaham Bande Shri Gurunditanam Vansha Kapadribischa Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. When the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish with the help of that quality, with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish. And when ignorance is prominent, the yakshas and rakshasas flourish. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart, fostering the reactions of sattva-guṇa, rajo-guṇa, and tamo-guṇa. So we are studying and continuing this particular chapter, which is explaining how the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone, which, as Ashram Maharaj was mentioning yesterday, it's leading up into this wonderful pastime that spans 10 chapters, right? 10 chapters of Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu, and Lord Nrsingadev. Which the next chapter, chapter 2, it will be describing Hiranyakashipu, king of the demons. So we're starting it very soon. So it's a very wonderful section. Yeah, wonderful section of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada will quote these particular prayers by Prahlad Maharaj very often, and just the teachings in general of the 7th canto. But yeah, especially the prayer, the verses recited by Prahlad Maharaj. There's a lot of instructive things there for the individual and for preaching, the preaching of Krishna consciousness. So, yeah. It's taken us about 12 years to get to this point. Mukunda Charana Prabhu mentioned, because I was saying how when we started the first canto on this round, I think when I joined about 17 years ago, we're on the 10th canto. I believe so. But anyways, Mukunda Charana Prabhu was mentioning how when His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami visited here some years ago, he spoke on the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And you remember that to be, because you listened to the lecture and all that, so you remembered it to be 12 years ago. So it's taken us 12 years. 11. So 11 years, okay. So it's going to take us some more time to get to the 12th canto, finish, but let's see if we could all do it, right? So here in this particular verse and purport, specifically purport, Srila Prabhupada, he's discussing victory, loss, and the different modes of material nature. So the conditioned soul under the influence of the various modes of material nature and behind material nature is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But one's victory and loss under the influence of the modes are reactions of these modes, not of the Supreme Lord's partiality. So according to the particular mode one operates in, then they're going to get particular results. And it's interesting because according to the particular mode one is in, they also want particular results. They're going to get particular results, but they also want specific results. And for those conducted in the mode of goodness, the results that those in the mode of passion and ignorance want are just considered to be absolutely waste of time and foolish. And with our progression of Krishna consciousness, means becoming progressively more Krishna conscious. That's the idea, right? We want to become progressively more Krishna conscious. And someone would say, "Oh, well, I'm already fully Krishna conscious." I haven't met anybody who said that yet, but the thing about Krishna consciousness, it is, right? What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say in the Shikshashtaka about the ocean being ever increasing? Yes, it's ever increasing. So there's no limit to our, you could say, progression in Krishna consciousness or advancement. So we don't have to worry about that. Like, oh, I've reached the goal. We can keep on going. So with our progression, or with a devotee's progression of Krishna consciousness, becoming more Krishna conscious, they start to look at the world and see the world, looking at it, you could say, from the eyes of Scripture, through the eyes of Shastra. That's how they see it, more and more. And specifically, what does Shastra say about Kali Yuga? There's all of these predictions, right? And what canto? 12th canto. There's all these predictions of Kali Yuga. Now read those predictions, and there's no exaggeration. There's no falsity in those predictions. They're very clearly seen in modern day. These particular predictions. One devotee, I'm forgetting the whole particular, his exchange with Srila Prabhupada, but it was quite an interesting exchange he had. One of a Prabhupada disciple in Los Angeles, he heard about this Swami there, so he wanted to go meet him. And so then he went to meet him in his quarters, and Srila Prabhupada was sitting there in Los Angeles, and there's all these devotees sitting there, mostly brahmacharis and sannyasis at the time. And this new person walks in, and he was coming to challenge Srila Prabhupada. That was his mindset.
Football player from San Diego State.
Yes.
I've forgotten his name. Big guy.
Yes. Yeah. He was coming to challenge Srila Prabhupada. So the first thing, he sat down, and the first thing Srila Prabhupada said to him, he said, "Why are you such a miser? And the person was, and he's thinking, I just came in here and what is he? Now he's calling me miser. And then he went on to have this whole conversation with him. And one of the things, because Mahabodhi, he wanted to challenge Srila Prabhupada, and one of the things he wanted to challenge him on was, can he read minds? And he had a few things in his mind, a few, you could say, criteria for a bona fide guru. And one of the things is he should be able to predict the future. So Prabhupada went on in his whole conversation with him. Right now I'm forgetting the details, but anyways, I repeated this some time ago in a class, but we could look it up. It's quite a amazing interaction. But at the end of towards the end of the conversation, Mahabodhi was thinking, okay, well, but he didn't say anything about the future, because that was one of his things. The guru should say something about the future. And then Srila Prabhupada told one of his disciples, grab the Srimad Bhagavatam from the bookcase. So then he grabbed the Bhagavatam. Then Prabhupada opened it up and he was looking. And then he said, because at the time this person had long hairs, Prabhupada would say it. So then Prabhupada read the prediction in the 12th canto, and Prabhupada said, yes, in Kali Yuga the men will have long hair, and or the people have long hair, men will have and think themselves very beautiful. So then he checked all these boxes. Okay, Prabhupada, the last one being he's able to predict the future, which is quoting the Bhagavatam. So anyways, he left. And then he came back, I think it was that night and the next morning, with a big check for Srila Prabhupada. And then he wrote this big check, like it was quite a lot of money, especially back then, and it was quite a lot. And he gave it to Krandar, one of Prabhupada's early disciples. And then Krandar said, no, you should go give it up to Prabhupada. And then he's like, oh no, that's okay. I don't want to, go through this again. I don't want to be, it's okay. He's a little, fearful. So then Krandar brought it up there and gave him the check. And then Srila Prabhupada told Krandar that, okay, tell him he's understood. Because Prabhupada was for being a miser, not. So he understood, he gave, and then eventually he became, initiated by Srila Prabhupada. So, but in relation to the predictions in the 12th canto, I mean it's clear as day. Just read the predictions and then look. It means talking about the degradation of the age. So a devotee will see that with their progression of Krishna consciousness, that the idea is to see more and more and more through the eyes of the scripture, not through the eyes of whatever, the mode of passion or the mode of ignorance or even the mode of goodness, but through the eyes of scripture. So, seeing the fallen state of the world, or if you just want to think about San Diego, we could, right? Just seeing the fallen state of humanity, a person will think that, okay, well, let me try to do something. Whether it's frontline work or backline work, because I don't know if it's you hear a lot of frontline, but you don't really hear much backline. Is that even a term? No, it's not a term. Okay, behind the scenes, behind the lines. Okay, so not backline, but behind the lines. So whether it's behind the lines means keeping the bathrooms clean, for example. Behind the lines means, okay, we're not on the front lines contacting the conditioned souls and giving them books or chanting to whatever, or initiating them or whatever it may be, but behind the scenes means people may not see it, but we're doing things to help, you could say, the conditioned souls have a good impression of the Hare Krishna movement, which, bathroom clean is good. Or whether it's sweeping the patio, or whether there's one guy, he comes around and he Patrick, he goes around with the broom and he gets all the spider webs, cobwebs. Good. I mean, he has other purposes, which we won't get into, exactly, but he said it attracts entities and this and that, which we could say is some Vedic truth to that. Anyways, but we're not going to get into his psychology, but he's cleaning around. It's good. So, or cooking, very important part. Sometimes there's more devotees in the kitchen than in the class. So then at that point I say, okay, it's the kitchen religion, right? But it is important. I mean, Srila Prabhupada would say that there's that famous, famous amongst cooks especially, and prasadam, producers. But there's that famous time where Srila Prabhupada was in Hyderabad, and the devotees, they put on this big festival. India, you put up a pandal, you put up some posters around town, and you'll get, still to this day, you'll get 5,000 people, 10,000 people, right? Try getting that many people. It's a little more difficult in America, but so they put on this big festival, and they hired someone to cook. The person cooked, but apparently it was very bad. And Srila Prabhupada wasn't happy about it. And he said, this isn't even suitable for dogs. It's like, uh-oh. You can imagine being the festival organizer for that one. Srila Prabhupada saying, that was like, okay. Your heart would sink, right? Srila Prabhupada told you, you're the organizer of the festival, so this isn't even suitable for dogs. And then he went on to explain that you shouldn't do this. You have to cook very nice prasadam for people, because we're trying to attract them to Krishna. And first of all, it should be nice for Krishna, right? Patram pushpam palam, nice as possible for Krishna. We're trying to attract people, and this is one of the ways. And then Srila Prabhupada went on to explain that in the early days of the Hare Krishna movement, he said people weren't coming to hear me so much. People were coming for the Sunday feast. And he was saying that he was talking about different young men who were joining his party, and he was saying, just like so-and-so, I was feeding him at least 12 chapatis, at least 12 chapatis at a time. That's a lot of chapatis. I was with one brahmachari, just on a little side note, but how much chapatis did he eat? It was like 25 chapatis. It's like a lot of chapatis, yeah. It was in, yeah, he's still alive. It was in Calcutta, and our host was trying to, feed him a lot of chapatis. It was a bit of a challenge. So I was there, and I didn't eat that many chapatis, but I couldn't do that. But this other one was, so anyways. So, but even 12 chapatis, man, that's a lot. So anyways, but Prabhupada was saying that it's very important. And as one devotee was telling me, in Las Vegas devotee, while I was there some time ago, and he's from Russia originally, but he had a restaurant in Russia with his wife, and he was saying that we wouldn't just like cook, just like cook. He said we were cooking to convert, which is different. There's one thing you just kind of like, whatever, cook something, or just whatever, cook something. But when it's like cooking to convert, it means we were trying to make it very nice, offered to Krishna, and then offered to people, so that people they'll just dream of this, prasadam, think, okay, I got to go back there. And as Tamal Krishna Goswami was pushing the devotees of Houston before they established the big temple and the restaurant, two of them, he was saying, you should have a restaurant. He said, all the people of Houston will come. He said, they'll follow their tongue. And I was happy when I visited there some time ago because Tamal Krishna Goswami is very eager to have the locals, the Hispanic population, the black population, and different locals to come to the temple. And when I was there, I was seeing all of these people going into the restaurant, locals. So it was very nice. Yeah. So yeah, whether it's, you could say, behind the scenes, and in many ways cooks are behind the scenes, right? Cooking. Or whatever it may be, or frontline. Like we have devotees making these stacks of books. Asha, she comes every week and she puts these stacks of books together and wraps them. Or Subhadra's making cookies for the Harinam. So whatever it is, or managing things. So whatever it is, naturally a devotee wants to do something. A devotee is not inactive. A devotee wants to do something to help contribute to the suffering of the world. And as, again, it's being mentioned here that by engaging by living in the mode of ignorance and passion and engaging in particular activities, one's going to get a particular result. So the devotee, seeing the people in general, completely bewildered. Like these people, if we actually understood how bewildered these people, sometimes we think we're bewildered. I don't know, maybe sometimes we are, but sometimes we really think we're fallen and bewildered. I mean, in comparison to devotees, in comparison to these people, these people are completely lost. It's written all over their face. It's written all over their car. I don't want to tell you, but whatever.
There's this one here that says existence is pain.
Yeah, existence is pain. They put all these strange stickers on their car. I'm not going to get into any details, but it's written all over their car. It's written all over their T-shirts. It's written all over their face. It's written all over their activities. I mean, Kali Yuga is the age where the three doors that Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, kama, krodha, lobha, lust, anger, and greed, these doors are completely open in Kali Yuga. And people are just running, through these doors. And without some Vaishnava intervention, practically these people are just, yeah, Srila Prabhu said doomed. Really, that's really intense, right? Doomed. So there needs to be some intervention. Therefore, prasadam distribution. Therefore, harinam sankirtanam. Therefore, book distribution. Therefore, all these different activities. Therefore, being a good devotee. Therefore, becoming a spiritual master, right? Therefore, initiating people. There needs to be a whole army of devotees working together to help them. And here this whole chapter is describing how Krishna is equal to everyone, which is true, which presents a very interesting dynamic in the material world, because as Ashram Maharaj was mentioned yesterday, who is it that gives the mercy of Krishna to the people? If Krishna is equal to everybody, who gives the mercy? Right? So it's not the Kanishta Adhikari, because they have no interest in helping the conditioned souls. They just see the deity in the temple, they don't know how to relate to devotees, and they don't have any compassion for the conditioned souls. It's not them. It's not the Uttama Adhikaris. The main Shastric definition of Uttama Adhikaris being they see Krishna everywhere, right? They see everybody as servants of Krishna beside themselves. They're not going to give the mercy, that definition of Uttama Adhikari. But it's the It's the Madhyamadikari. They give out the mercy. Now, of course, you could say this is indiscriminately. They give out the mercy to whoever, anyone and everyone. But it does put responsibility. We could say, oh, let Krishna spread the Sankirtan movement. Let Krishna go deliver those conditioned souls at Southwestern College. Let Krishna go deliver those souls at Balboa Park. Let Krishna go deliver those souls in Pacific Beach, right? Well, the system, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's empowered his associates, and then through a whole disciplic succession, right, coming down to us. And the responsibility is actually been given to us to give the mercy as much as possible. And people need it. I mean, again, if we knew how much people were suffering, we'd have a hard time sleeping at night. So, I mean, they say, like, if you remembered, like, your past lives, you'd have a hard time being normal in this life. Sometimes even the trauma people go through in this life, people have a hard time functioning. So what to speak if you knew about all your last lives, or if we knew about our last lives. So similarly, if we actually understood, the suffering of people, we'd have a hard time just functioning, actually. You could say maybe it's a form of mercy. But whether it's bodily suffering, whether it's mental suffering, whether it's all the different forms of suffering, suffering caused from all living entities, it's going on, full force. And in many ways, devotees are in a bit of a bubble, right? Transcendental bubble, Hare Krishna bubble, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. And you could just go on in the bubble and just not really feel the pangs, like was mentioned. Also, Maharaj was mentioned yesterday about the benefits of chanting. One of the benefits, you feel the fire less of material existence. So just like, for example, recently in Maui, which I'm sure everybody's aware of now, and maybe they're moving on to other, topics, but it was amazing. I mean, his Holiness Bajranarayan Swami is a GBC there, so I was asked to go there and to Maui and Honolulu. Happy to go there, but visit the devotees and so on. But in Maui, I was staying with my godbrother Balabhadra and his wife Gauramani, I think. And they live close to this town that just like burned down. The whole thing just, it's quite shocking, actually. I mean,
How many people were killed? Just over 100.
yeah, over 100 people. And this section of Maui, I mean, this is like top tourism section. It's not like in San Diego, for example. It's not that like Santee burned down, or El Cajon burned down, or Alpine burned down, or something. I mean, it would be like the equivalent. It'd be like, La Jolla burning down, like the whole of La Jolla burning down. And this is, huh?
Or Old Town.
Yeah, or Old Town. This is like the La Jolla of Maui. And people look at, San Diego's like on one level, and then like Hawaii's on the next level, of gratification or whatever, scenic or gratification. But it's on the next level, and this is like, it's like the whole thing just burned down. Super famous shops that have been there for years, and practically that means, first of all, some people died, but aside from, and also, so many people just are suffering, loss of jobs and homes and all this stuff. So yeah, it's going on. The fire's going on. And that's external fire. Then you got the fire in people's heart. I mean, that's not going out. I mean, Lahaina started, the fire started, everything burned down, then it went out. But the fire in people's heart, it's not going out. That's a fire that's burning continuously. Just like recently, also someone within my family there was some bit of a tragic episode. Of course, Chanakya Pandit says you shouldn't talk about your family, actually, and the faults. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, this person is my. Yeah. So, anyways, it's some very tragic thing happened, and it wasn't, you could say, direct, but family, but it was direct enough that it affected all of my, direct biological family. So, yeah, I mean, that's okay. There's one, but it's on and on. I mean, it's a whole world of people. How many billion people are there now? 8. It's increasing, right? That's not stopping either. So what is our victory? Because here it's talking about becoming victorious. So there's the German people declared war against the English to ruin them, but both parties were ruined, right? And then Prabhupada says the Allies were apparently victorious, at least on paper. Actually, neither of them were victorious. So you could say, what's our victory in our life? According to what modes we are, we have a particular conception. What is our victory, right? But we should accept the Krishna conscious version of victory. Because after all, I mean, if you look at, you look in the mirror, you're wearing tilak, you're wearing dhoti, look what you've been doing with your life. Been chanting Hare Krishna for a number of years. I mean, we're identifying as Hare Krishna people, so we should accept the Krishna conscious version of victory. And what is that victory? The victory is that we could say basic, and going up different levels, but one, we follow the 4 regulative principles. That's a victory, right? Against Maya. We chant 16 rounds. That's a victory. We contribute to the Hare Krishna movement. That's a victory. We learn how to control our mind and our senses. That's victory. We go out and we distribute books, right? That's victory, right? Like Hanuman. Victory to Ram, right? It's victory. So, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. That the Sankirtan movement will be victorious. But then the question is, what side do we want to be on? Do we want to be on the Maya side, which they're never victorious? It's just like the whole thing's just, it's a complete joke, actually. But they're never victorious. Even if they think they're victorious, they're never victorious, ultimately. But the devotees, the devotees are victorious, and that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that declare boldly that he says, "My devotee never perishes." So we should have that particular conviction, have that faith, and we could say wherever Krishna and Arjuna is, there's victory. So we should have Krishna in our lives, and in this way, we'll be successful. So, does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes. Maharaj.
Oh. When you were discussing the behind-the-scenes part of the army, or recounting that festival in Hyderabad where the prasadam came out terrible, we had an incident like this in Honolulu. Prabhupada came in January of '74, and speaking of tragedies, we'd had a tragedy in ISKCON, Hawaii. Our leader, the person who brought Krishna consciousness to the islands, gave up his service, closed all the temples throughout the islands, and we were kind of trying to start things back up. And we were renting a house in kind of remote part of town out in Moanalua Valley. It was hard to get to then. A little hard to get to then. You had to actually deliberately drive out there. And so we were having our feasts at Queen Surf Park in Waikiki. And Srila Prabhupada came. He was staying at a hotel in Waikiki Beach. And the first Sunday he was there, he asked for a plate from the feast. And somehow or other, by Krishna's divine arrangement, it was awful. The rice was half cooked and probably, I think, not salted. These are the two things I remember. The rest didn't strike me so much. And the laddu wasn't toasted. The besan and the laddu wasn't. I mean, everything was awful. It was
Nothing worse than raw besan, right?
That's yeah. I mean, it's almost as bad as undercooked eggplant. You know, if you ever had that, you'll never forget. So somehow or other, it was just awful. And Srila Prabhupada was furious, you know, that we're serving this to the deities and we're serving this to our guests. So the next morning, after class, he made an announcement. This coming Sunday, we'll have our love feast here at the temple. I will personally cook and distribute.
Wow.
This was how intensely he wanted to. He really wanted to show us we're cooking to convert, right? And so he arranged for pairs of devotees to work with him on each preparation, and it was. Pardon? So we would learn. And I was on kachori. I was cooking kachoris with Bali Mardan. And Srila Prabhupada stayed with each team until he was convinced that what we made, when he moved on to the next team, would be identical with what he had been making. And it was quite an amazing, it was so ecstatic. It was so ecstatic. When Srila Prabhupada came downstairs and walked through the prasadam room to leave, and all the devotees were honoring prasadam, when he saw how happy the devotees were honoring the prasad that he had prepared for them, for the Panchatattva and for them, he was so happy. One of those big oceanic smiles broke out. His face lit up. And as he walked through the room, I saw him respond to us, and I just called out, Chatur Bidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Swadvanda Triptan Hari Bhakta Sanghan. And he just said, thank you very much.
Oh, nice.
It was so wonderful. And then I was thinking about, that also made me think of the care that we show to people and the victories that we have. And I saw one, I encountered one last night. This young man who was at the program in Chula Vista, Noah. He's been associating with the devotees for a week. And it was really clear to me that he's getting things. The questions he asked, it was just mainly to confirm things that he was starting to figure out after 1 week. And I was and I wanted to sit down with him and talk with him, but I was engaged in conversation immediately afterward by someone else. But I was gratified to see how the devotees were attentive to him. I think it was Mukunda was sitting with him for a while, and then Saul, and I just thought, cool, it's covered. And then he came, before we left, he came and sat down with me and thanked me for the whole program, although I was just a guest there myself. So anyway, it was really gratifying to see.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, Noah. I'm not sure. Have you given your memories to Siddhanta? He does the videos.
We haven't made an arrangement. I think there's a 5-minute video from a Prabhupada festival, one of those Memorial Day festivals, maybe in the mid-late 90s.
Okay, but you haven't told all your memories to him.
No, we've talked about it a couple of times, but we haven't really connected.
He, like Bhajanarayan Swami just said, he's in San Diego now. He emailed me recently. I've emailed him over the years about just some references to his books and this and that and whatever. But he messaged me also, apparently he messaged Bhajanarayan Swami, that apparently he relocated here. Nice.
Wow.
Relocated to San Diego, and he was telling me because we've been talking about some years about him coming, he gives a little talk and whatever, his books, memory books. But when Bhakti Sundar Goswami was here, he came and he interviewed Bhakti Sundar Goswami. So maybe he could interview you, because that was a very nice memory you just gave about Prabhupada in Hawaii and whatever other memories you have, because that's his thing, which that was a very wonderful thing he did. He traveled all around the world and was interviewing everybody. It's really great. Yeah. And does anybody have any other? Also, Kaushalya moved here, the Prabhupada disciple. From LA. She was in LA for many years, but then she's relocated back here. She lives in La Jolla area, and I know because when His Holiness Giraj Swami was here, they contacted each other, and then a few of us, the disciples and her and him, and we went over to somebody's home and whatever, visited there, Ujeshri's. But so anyways, yeah, she's here. So yeah, she's got a lot of memories too. And that Chasing Rhinos book, Chasing Rhinos, not Chasing Rhinos, sorry, Dancing White Elephants book is coming out that His Holiness Giraj Swami wrote. It's coming out. It's already done. It's already.
What is the focus of this one?
The focus of this one is Dancing White Elephants, and it's what it is it documents Prabhupada disciples coming to India to join Srila Prabhupada.
Wow.
1970, and it's documenting Giraj Swami and the other devotees' travels with Srila Prabhupada in India,
Wow.
which I think covers, it's something like 2 years.
70 to
When is it
72.
coming out?
I contacted the editor called the Chanji, but I think it's about 2 months.
Can we buy advanced copies?
Yeah.
DancingWhiteElephants.com. Pre-order.
I'll never remember. Bala, help me remember.
Okay. Yeah, you could.
Oh, that is amazing.
So it's going to come out soon.
It's
Yeah.
like when they said that no one can sell more, when the Harinam from Lord Nityananda came through, there was no one selling rice in the marketplace. Everybody just went on Harinam.
Yeah.
This kind of will stop when that book comes, because everybody will be reading that book.
Yeah. So it's coming out soon. And then the next book he's writing is his early days in the Boston Temple. So it seems that he's going like this, backwards, like Juhu, traveling to Prabhupada in Boston. So, and he's working on that too. Right now he's going. So, yeah, but anyways, I thought about that because Kaushalya is a
I mean, the devotees,
key member traveling with Prabhupada at that time also.
we should wrap up, but the devotees have no idea. Most of you who's sitting in this room have absolutely no, Ashram Maharaj, Dravida knows, and Vijay knows, but what the devotees went through, it's just Malaji Devi was telling me the park across because the water was shut off in Calcutta. They would bathe in that Victoria Park, which now we've got the right to take over and clean up. And of course the men would muscle all the ladies out for whatever water was there, so they had to take a bath. They would go across the street in the dark into that park and bathe in that mucky, it was a mucky, nasty pond, sometimes with dead bodies. Yeah, one devotee bumped into a dead body just floating in there. Somebody died from cholera, But and Prabhupada said, no, because that's where the prostitutes were bathing. So they were thinking these Western Vaishnavis, they're bathing with the prostitutes, they must just be prostitutes. I mean, you have no idea. There was no water. If you drank water from the pipes, you got sick and you got, Bombay, Mahatma Gandhi revenge, Bombay blues, Delhi belly. You were out of it, And there was no bottled water, forget that. You had to buy limcas. Limcas is like a flat 7-Up. It was Bisleri lime drink. The Indian government in 1956 took apart an Italian soda factory, piece by piece, shipped it to India, and reassembled it. It was the only thing, because it was bottled, and the water was distilled. Because you're getting dehydrated, you're out there preaching, there's no water, you can't drink water. And you'd have to buy them, but because it was so funky and the caps didn't fit on right, there would be ants and bugs floating in it. You'd splash them out, and you'd drink that. You have no idea what the devotees went through. We stand on the shoulders of giants.
Try. All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.